Hello and welcome to the book of Ruth. All right, the name Ruth is believed to most likely come from a Moabite and or Hebrew word meaning friendship. We learn from Matthew chapter 1 that she was included in the physical lineage of Christ. Jewish tradition credits Samuel as the author, which is possible since he didn't die until after he had anointed David as God's chosen king. However, neither internal features nor external testimony conclusively identify who the writer is. The events of Ruth likely appeared shortly before or during David's reign in Israel around 1000 BC, since David is mentioned but not Solomon. The events we'll be reading about will be dealing with the Moabites, which was an enemy of Israel that resided east of the Dead Sea. These people were named after Moab, who was the son of Lot through an incestuous relationship with his eldest daughter. Balak, whom we read about in the book of Numbers, was a Moabite. For 18 years, Moab oppressed Israel during the time of the Judges. King Saul ended up defeating the Moabites, while David seemed to enjoy a peaceful relationship with them. But later, Moab again caused trouble for Israel. So here we go. Let's dive in. Verse 1. Now it came about in the days when the judges governed, that there was a famine in the land. And a certain man of Bethlehem in Judah went to sojourn, which again was a temporary stay. So went to sojourn in the land of Moab with his wife and his 2 sons. The name of the man was Elimelech, and the name of his wife Naomi. And the names of his 2 sons were Mahlon and Chilion, Ephrathites of Bethlehem in Judah. Now they entered the land of Moab and remained there. Ephrathites, which is hard to say, was a title used of people who lived in an area anciently known as Ephrath or Ephrathah, but later more prominently called Bethlehem. Jesse, the father of David, is called an Ephrathite of Bethlehem. Okay, verse 3. Then Elimelech, Naomi's husband, died, and she was left with her 2 sons. They took for themselves Moabite women as wives. The name of the one was Orpah, and the name of the other Ruth, and they lived there about 10 years. Then both Mahlon and Chilion also died, and the woman, Naomi, was bereft of her 2 children and her husband. Then she arose with her daughters-in-law, that she might return from the land of Moab. For she had heard in the land of Moab that the Lord had visited his people in giving them food. So in other words, the famine was finally over in Bethlehem. Verse 7. So she departed from the place where she was, and her 2 daughters-in-law with her, and they went on the way to return to the land of Judah. And Naomi said to her 2 daughters-in-law, Go, return each of you to her mother's house. May the Lord deal kindly with you as you have dealt with the dead, referencing her sons, and with me. Verse 9. May the Lord grant that you may find rest, each in the house of her husband, or in other words, you have my permission to remarry. Then she kissed them, and they lifted up their voices and wept. And they said to her, No, but we will surely return with you to your people. But Naomi said, Return, my daughters. Why should you go with me? Have I yet sons in my womb, that they may be your husbands? Return, my daughters. Go, for I am too old to have a husband. If I said I have hope, if I should even have a husband tonight and also bear sons, would you therefore wait until they were grown? Would you therefore refrain from marrying? No, my daughters, for it is harder for me than for you. For the hand of the Lord has gone forth against me. And they lifted up their voices and wept again. And Orpah kissed her mother-in-law, but Ruth clung to her. Then she said, Behold, your sister-in-law has gone back to her people and her gods. Return after your sister-in-law. But Ruth said, Do not urge me to leave you or to turn back from following you. For where you go, I will go, and where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God, my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. Thus may the Lord do to me, and worse, if anything but death parts you and me. When she saw that she was determined to go with her, she said no more to her. So they both went until they came to Bethlehem. And when they had come to Bethlehem, all the city was stirred because of them. And the women said, Is this Naomi? Our old homie? I'm sorry, guys. I couldn't help it. All right, verse 20. She said to them, "Do not call me Naomi. Call me Mara, which means bitter. For the Almighty has dealt very bitterly with me. I went out full, but the Lord has brought me back empty. Why do you call me Naomi, since the Lord has witnessed against me, and the Almighty has afflicted me?" A similar depressed attitude that we'll see when we read the book of Lot. Verse 22. So Naomi returned, and with her Ruth the Moabitess, her daughter-in-law, who returned from the land of Moab. And they came to Bethlehem at the beginning of barley harvest. Okay, it's going to get good, guys. Hope you can join me. It's actually a really amazing story. So please come back tomorrow, and hope to see you. God bless you, and take care.